we are going to begin with Dina giving us a prayer. Dina Desjardins.
Hi, everybody. Let's start with our hand on our heart, eyes closed, and allowing ourselves to drop into our heart space, taking that deep breath of spirit and love. We are so grateful to be here together, so thankful for our teacher and each other and this opportunity to offer up all blocks to love, all things that would keep our ears closed so that we cannot hear, all things that would keep us stuck. We offer all those things on the altar so that we may declare today that today is our day to be truly free. And we share the benefits with everyone. And so it is. Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. Thank you, Dina. Dina's in our Masterful Living community. She's been a part of our community for many years now, and we just love her. She is a radiant beam of light to us. Thank you, Dina. And next up, we are blessed to have someone that I've never even met, Reverend Suze Ogden, and she is going to be our musical inspiration today. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Suze here. Dr. Suze, Reverend Dr. Suze. Do you say Susie?
You're at choice. Actually, when people get to know me, they always call me Suze, so that's fine.
Okay, great. Great. Well, I guess I must have known that. Well, I'm so glad you're here. I'm very excited to hear your share of musical inspiration. And what Reverend Dr. Suze has told us here is she travels the world sharing her gift as a vivacious singer, songwriter, and storyteller whose spirit weaves through her music and her message. Her experience with blues, folk, country, gospel, and honky-tonk music has evolved to create a sound she calls angel tonk, so perfect for us. Live and recorded, Sue's music is inspirational, moving, and uplifting. She's been featured on both radio and television throughout the United States, as well as internationally. Her travels brought her to the awareness of how music is truly the web for peace on earth. She says there are only 7 notes and 12 sounds, and they translate the same in every language. So we're glad you're here, and we're ready to be inspired by your gifts.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. This is different. I came up with Angel Tonk from singing in as many bars as I have churches. So I always like to start with this song. It always reminds me exactly why I'm where I am, doing what I do. One day when I was talking about things that I had lost, complaining to anybody who'd listen about how much living cost. A sweet smiling stranger told me with a laugh, said, don't worry about tomorrow, forget about your past, 'cause you only have this moment. You see, today won't come again, so don't waste another second worrying about what might have been. Make your life a blessing and each day find something new to be grateful and give thanks for the power inside of you. You see, life's no dress rehearsal. Each day it's opening night. And if what you're doing doesn't feel good, then you're just not doing it right. You might as well spend all of your money, give all your kisses and be kind. 'Cause you can't take money with you, and you can't leave kisses behind. 'Cause you only have this moment. You see, today won't come again. Don't waste another second worrying about what might have been. Make your life a blessing, and each day find something new to be grateful and give thanks for the power inside of you. For the power inside of you. For the power inside of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Suze.
Thanks.
That was spectacular.
Thank you. It's great to be here today.
Ah, so glad you're here with us. Yeah, we've got wonderful comments. You'll have to read them
Okay,
from the.
I feel special today because I'm here.
Yeah. Well, we're so glad that we get to rise together on the waves of your music.
Thank you.
And Suze came to us through the recommendation, I believe, of Tammy Tittle. And she is here to give our message today. She is a longtime member of this community. She is a spiritual counselor in training, like Dina, who gave the opening prayer. And I'm going to share a little bit here about Tammy. She's a licensed Science of Mind practitioner, teacher, speaker, and facilitator in her local spiritual community. And in addition to being in our spiritual counseling training program at the Power of Love Ministry, she has been with us since 2016. We met in workshops that were done at a Unity Church in Oklahoma City. And what a blessed day that was that we got to meet. And Tammy says since then, she's been in Masterful Living for 3 years, and she's done Finding Freedom. She's been in our training, and she is also one of the prayer practitioners. We have our ministry, we offer prayers every 3 hours. And so Tammy participates in that. She's on the Leadership Council President and Ministry of Prayer chairperson at the United Life Center for Spiritual Living in her hometown of Oklahoma City. And she has a lot of other gifts and talents. And we are blessed to have her giving our message today. I can't tell you what it means to me, Tammy, that you are delivering the message today. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. I can't express the gratitude and honor that it is for me to be right here today with and serving in this ministry in this way. And I'm just going to be honest here. You know, I put it out to the universe. I've been speaking for the last couple of years here at United Alive, up until a couple of months ago when we got a new minister. We finally hired a minister. And I had gained such a love for, you know, giving the inspirational talk on Sunday, that although I wasn't disappointed in getting a new minister, I was like, I was inspired that, there's going to be other opportunities. And when this came up and I was asked, I'll tell you, at first I was like, huh, what? And then I was like, wait, I've asked for this. And, you know, that's the power of, you know, what we learn in Masterful Living and in the Course in Miracles. And I'm a Science of Mind practitioner, you know, so I've studied the science of mind for a really long time. So I'm just really grateful to be here. And I want to give a special shout out to Richard and Karen Carruthers for inviting you to Oklahoma City, and because that's the way we met. And I do believe today, yesterday, the other day was their 51st anniversary. So happy anniversary to those two wonderful souls who also are part of this ministry. And so today I'm going to talk about the power of practice and mental equivalence. And the reason that is so near and dear to my heart right now is because I've really been using mental equivalence to, you know, change my thinking, to change my perception, to change my experience. And this, you know, I think when we first began to practice, when I very first met Jennifer, I was desperate. I was like, I felt like I had been a failure at life. I had, you know, ended a 23-year relationship. I had lost a high-paying job. My car got repossessed. I had filed bankruptcy. I just felt like I had been a failure, both spiritually and as a human being. And I was desperate. And when I met Jennifer and went to those, in the very first workshop, I said to myself, she has something I want, and I want to take some care to listen to her. And that, you know, I've done. And what I know is that what you reminded me, Jennifer, was to listen to what is already here inside of me. And I don't know how long it would have taken me to learn that had I not, you know, joined in with this community, because of how much sharing and time that we get together to be authentic and genuine in every way. And, you know, some of you may remember me back from a couple of years ago. I was emotional, irrational at times. I had like blocks, you know, in my perception that I just couldn't see the good in myself or my own worthiness. And so, you know, by studying first of all, joining in Masterful Living, and I swear she didn't pay me to say this or anything. I mean, this is the real truth, that Masterful Living helped to save my life, you know, because I was not in a good place, and I wasn't sure I was going to get out of it if I didn't listen to somebody. And I was attending this Unity Church sporadically here, and that flyer came around, and, you know, I didn't think too much of it, and it was laying on my table at home for a while, and I finally decided I'm going to do that. And so the rest is history from there. I've learned a lot, you know. I've gained a lot of confidence in myself. And not only confidence, the confidence came after I began to love myself and believe in myself. And so that was the really big thing, is getting rid of that unworthiness. And, you know, I have to admit, sometimes there's residue of that still there. But I have a tool. I have many tools now that I can turn to. You know, when you know, in Sue's song, she said, you know, if it's not feeling good, we're just not doing it right. And we learn how to do it better when we connect with other people, because we can collaborate and share. So the law of mental equivalence is, we do it all the time. We're doing it every day, whether we're aware of it or not. And when we have invested our interest in being fearful or afraid or separated, we have established our mental equivalent. And you know, like attracts like. And so if that is what is in our mind and there's feeling behind it, we're going to have that experience. And so Ernest Holmes, basically, he's the founder of the Science of Mind and the author of the Science of Mind textbook. He says that, you know, a mental equivalent is a subjective idea that is desired by the person desiring it. And subjective is just personal, you know, it's personal to you in accordance with your own personal preferences, opinions, perceptions, beliefs, etc. So in order to change the things that we don't like in our life, and I know Jennifer talks about this all the time, but I think application of it, sometimes we get lost in the how-to and don't really learn to apply it consistently, so that we are consistently in that place of happiness, of that place of flow and abundance, of really what like the universe is like. All of the natural world out there, all of nature is very abundant, it's very diverse, and it's constantly changing and replenishing itself. And we are no different than the trees and you know, the animals and the fishes in the ocean, except that we have volition. You know, we can decide for ourselves what we, you know, really want to do and how we want to show up in life. And when we decide to show up in life that's in tune with nature, it's in alignment with our true nature, that is where when we're really going to begin to realize what it is we truly desire in our life and who it is we truly are. And who we truly are is a beloved and beautiful child of God or the universe or spirit or whatever name you call it, that there's no getting out of this. It is innate within every single one of us. Not a one of us has this missing. The thing is, we don't often recognize it. And we can see right now in the world how obvious it is that a lot of people don't recognize their true nature, or the true nature of their brothers and sisters. Excuse me. And so when we use the law of mental equivalence in order to get that experience that we truly desire, first of all, that desire can hurt no one, not even ourselves. There can be no viciousness or malice about it. It has, you know, it really has to come from love and a true desire for happiness for everyone around us. And whatever that idea is, whatever that thing is that we desire, we must be very clear about it. Because the universe is not, it doesn't work with conflicting ideas. The universe is always conspiring for our good, but if we're like, you know, hey, I would like that, oh wait, maybe not, no, it has to be like this, we don't get too specific with the details. It's in the feeling that we desire to have where we really begin to have that vibration that's going to that energy, the feeling that is going to bring us what we desire. And I've observed this in my own life by using it totally incorrectly and knowing that later on and looking back and just sort of recounting my steps and what were my thoughts and what were my beliefs and where was I coming from, that I was totally in false beliefs, even though at the time I didn't believe it was false. I thought it was true. So that's one of the ways that perception, you know, the Course in Miracles tells us that perception comes through the body's eyes and through the body's ears. But recognizing our true nature comes from looking within. And Emmett Fox, he had a lot to say about mental equivalence. And one of the things that he says in one of his books is, the door to the soul opens inward. And if we are pressing against that door from the inside, we're self-will, we're making things happen, we're trying to churn them out and produce them, we're not in alignment with the law, we shut that door tighter, you know? We shut that door tighter and it seems harder and harder to get what we wish to obtain. And as human beings, sometimes when that happens, when it gets too hard, we give up. We say it doesn't work, or this is not for me, or I'm done trying, you know? When I first picked up the Course in Miracles in 1995, I quickly put it back down. Honestly, I was like, I don't understand what this says. I don't know what this is about. It doesn't make sense to me. And so I didn't do it. And, you know, fast forward to 2015 or so when I went in to that workshop with Jennifer, and she was talking a lot about the Course in Miracles. And as I found out about her radio show and her blog and all that, I got interested in A Course in Miracles again. And you know, with that clarity, when we're working with mental equivalence, there also has to be interest. We have to have interest in what we're doing. Without interest, there's no feeling. Without, you know, the interest, there's no love for what we desire. We have to be really interested in it and focus our interest on that. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story. I really love to wake up with gratitude now. I mean, because a long time ago, I used to wake up every morning and say a 4-letter word. And I was not happy to be participating in life. I wasn't happy about the things I was seeing. And I woke up every morning expressing that 4-letter word. And I can tell you without a doubt that that is no way to begin your day. All else follows that 4-letter word, you know, the swearing and cussing is. Anyhow, so what I had to do was I had to change that. I really wanted to change it because it upset me that I was waking up that way. And just, you know, full of dread and worry and doubt and fear. I had wrecked my nervous system with fear over, you know, a long period of time of scaring myself to death with fear. You know, that my heart rate would be up really high all the time. I would be a little shaky. I would have this anxiety. And you feel that in your body. And that's a result, you know, of a diseased mind and a feeling of separation, of not knowing our true nature. And Jennifer has all kinds of friends that have been teaching us how to let go of these ideas. And so as I began to decide that that's not the way I wanted to wake up anymore, because I hadn't always been that way, but things got that way after I had all these perceived failures of losing my job and my relationship and my car and bankruptcy, you know, all those things that when we mess up, or when we mess up, when we're not in alignment with the Spirit, our ego can lead us down paths that isn't beneficial for us at all. And so as we began to decide differently for things, for circumstances and situations, we have to practice. And nobody gets good at anything without some kind of practice. We get, like when I was in the fear thoughts and the worry thoughts all the time, I kept getting more and more of it. More and more of it kept coming my way. This is in exact accordance with the universal law. It's in exact accordance. We can't say, over here we're going to do this, we're going to be this kind and loving human being, but over here we're not. It cannot coexist. And so as we began to change our mind and change our behaviors, we have to practice. And so I would wake up and do the same thing, even though in my mind, I'd go to bed and say, I'm going to wake up grateful. I'm going to say something good about myself so I don't feel awful about, the way I'm waking up and feeling about life. Just could not organically remember to do that. Why? Because I had practiced that other thing for so long that it was just really ingrained in me. And so I had to, dig it out like surgery in a way. And I had to be consistent with that practice every morning. But the thing that I did was I made a voice recording on my phone. And it went something like, I got it from Jennifer, and I was always uncomfortable when I would listen to Jennifer's prayer and it said, good morning, beautiful. I'd be like, oh, feel a little rattled about beautiful. And I had a really hard time with the words beautiful and beloved because I really didn't feel that way about myself. But I made this voice recording in my own voice, and I was really gentle with myself. I really got myself into the frame of reference to say, good morning, beautiful. It's time to wake up and be grateful. What are you grateful for? And I would begin to say, okay, I'd list out my things. I'd gotten my instruction for the day. And as I learned through Masterful Living, set my intention every single day. So now when I'm still in bed, I do my gratitudes and I set my intention. I listened to that recording waking up for about 3 or 4 months, even after I was already waking up doing it. And now when I wake up, it's automatically. I don't even have to think about it. I don't even ever wake up saying the F word again. Or not since. So, that's a shift. I replaced that behavior, that thought, that feeling with the mental equivalent of what I did want. And it took practice. None of us got where we are or where we've been, in just a little short period of time. We evolved into that somehow by continuously and repeatedly doing the same things. And so as we begin to recognize that these are not the things that we want, we take the time to get clear about something that really interests us, that we would like in our life in place of the thing we don't want. We really do have to replace the thing we don't want. And when Emmett Fox also talks about there's another law, a universal law at work, and that's the law of polarity, where it takes 2 things to make 3. Example, mother, father, child, okay? And in this case, we got clarity, we have interest, and then we get our manifestation. And that manifestation will be in equal measure to the clarity and the interest. And so as we begin to change our mind and practice the mental equivalence, things begin to shift in our mind, in our bodies, in our relationships, in our employment, or whatever kind of work or passion that we have. You know, no truly successful person in their vocation isn't without love for what they do, you know? And that's one thing that I like to watch in people. Do they love what they do? Because I want to know. I want to know, you know, what makes me happy, what makes me feel good. And that is being in alignment, you know, with my true nature as much as I can, and having full acceptance of where I'm at, you know. So you have to start where you are. You can't say, oh, I'm going to do what Jennifer does, if you never do the work to get that mental equivalent. And, you know, I've wanted to be a speaker, teacher, counselor since I was a little girl. My worthiness and my separation ideas and all those perceptions about myself, those false beliefs, kept me from doing it for so long. And even when I started doing it, I had a lot of fear about it, you know. And I would criticize myself, and I would analyze every single thing that, you know, I did and what I said and how I said it and when I said it, or, you know, whatever. My collar was messed up the whole time. My hair was sticking up. Oh, that's terrible. No, it's not. No, it's not. Those are just little nitpicky things that the ego mind is going to do to make us think, well, not to make us think, just to keep us right where we're at, to maintain that status quo. But nothing in life, in nature, in the natural world, stays in the same place. It never, okay, a tree does stay right there where it's planted, right? Its roots are strong, it goes down into the earth, usually if the environment is right for that particular plant. It's the same for us. But it grows up, it grows out, it blooms, it loses its leaves. It's constantly changing and growing until it begins, you know, to die, just like us. You know, we are in a body and we are going to die, but in this body, but we do have eternal life, and that eternal life lives within, and it cannot be taken away from us, ever. It was the, you know, the gift that God gave us. And so as we decide on making these changes, if you're not really practiced at manifesting the things that you really desire, take some time and get real clear about just one thing. Don't try to do everything at once. Gain some confidence with one thing. And this is something that Jennifer teaches, that she has made as a tool for us. And I don't know if she always calls it this. I know I've heard her say it, but I don't know that she always calls it the mental equivalent. I think she just talks about it and it makes sense. And we say, yeah, we know our head. But get very clear about that one thing. Sit with it, be with it. You don't have to make a fast, quick decision today. You don't even have to make it tomorrow. But if you really want something different than what you have, you're going to have to make that decision. And that decision can only come from you. It cannot come from without. So, you know, Jesus said, as within, so without. And so our inner environment, like the soil, you know, where you plant a seed, our inner environment of our thoughts will nurture and produce that exact to an exact measure to the thought. Let me kind of back up and clarify that a little bit. I got a little distracted for a moment. I feel like I lost my flow. Sorry, somehow that's the way it goes. But the thing is that we're doing when we're changing in our perception, and thank you, Kelly, for reminding me, because I know we've had this conversation, is that you got to make a bigger mold. You know, you got to have a bigger mold. So start expanding that mold out where you can, but start where you are. Don't try to go over here and, you know, we're going to have a natural evolution of the way things happen. Once we plant the seed, and this is the same with our thought, once we plant that seed, then the environment of the soil, if it's rich in nutrients and really conducive for growing, when we put that seed in there, it's going to grow. But it doesn't just like one day you walk out and it's a 60 or 80 foot tree or anything. It starts out really small and it inches its way and it begins to fold out its branches, and eventually it will begin to flower. And if it's a fruit or nut tree, it's going to begin to produce. This is the same way with our nature and our thoughts. It's the exact same way. So I'm hoping that at least I've given some personal examples that might be helpful to you. And I'd like to invite everyone to just pick one little thing and do that divine experiment with it and see how it works out. But give it your all. Give it your all. Decide for it. We cannot be wishy-washy or flip-floppy or, you know, going, yeah, I want it, maybe I don't. Yeah, I want it, maybe I don't. It doesn't work that way. But you say, that's what I want. And I know it's loving, I know it's kind, and I know it's helpful for myself and everyone. And that's what I want. And when we get very clear and interested in that, that's when it appears. So that's my invitation to you today. And I hope you've enjoyed this conversation, this talk, and that I get to see you around sometime in the future again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That was inspiring. Yes. Yeah. So glad you came to share that message today. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm going to invite folks to go on a little journey with me. We like to do a healing meditation after the talk, and then we'll have another song. And then we've got other goodies planned for you. And so I'm going to invite you to place your hand on your heart and just close your eyes and center focus in here. Let's truly make this a time of healing. We're not just paying lip service here, we're really allowing ourselves to have a healing. Ernest Holmes, the founder of the Science of Mind, he taught that the only time that it takes to have a healing is whatever time it takes to have a realization. And having a realization does not take time. Now I'm speaking my own words. Realization does not take a time. It really doesn't. What is required for a healing realization is willingness. Willingness to remember the truth, willingness to appreciate and value the truth, willingness to let our own opinions and judgments, our own perceptions, dissolve and resolve permanently back to whatever their root cause is. So we're giving up the false in order to experience the real. We experience the real when we are willing to give up the false. So we join together and magnify our willingness in this moment. And what I know is that many spiritual students will wake up with that sense of dread that Tammy was talking about. I have heard so many spiritual students say privately that they wake up with a sense of dread, and I have too. I used to wake up with a sense of dread on a very regular basis. And it was because I really wasn't willing. I said I was willing, but I really wasn't living the willingness. And so I would feel like I hadn't escaped from my own unwillingness during dream time. During dream time, I could escape my opinions and judgments to some degree. And then when I'd wake up, I would feel, back here again. Trapped in density. That's how I felt. Trapped in density. And so we come together to raise our vibration and to surrender our attachments to our view, to be willing to hold together this mental equivalent of heaven on earth. We are calling forth and bringing forth a new heaven and a new earth. This is what we have incarnated for. This is what we are doing with our life. And it is happening. It is happening now. It is being done, and it is being done by us because we are willing to be the ones we've waited for. And so in this moment now, let us have the courage to look within. Let us have the courage to not do the same old escape where we listen or half listen, but we don't follow, we don't apply, we just keep listening and listening. That was me for a long time. Listening and listening to audios, reading books, taking classes without application. Tammy has told us she has been on an extraordinary and miraculous journey. She's brought many people with her along this journey. Nobody travels alone. It may seem like we do sometimes, we may feel like we do sometimes, but we are raising up our family and our friends and our community right along with us. Whether they know it or not, and whether they like it or not, they are rising up with us. When one is lifted, all are lifted. And so we are grateful that we don't have to do the heavy lifting. That's not our job. Our job is simply to be willing to be lifted. Oh my goodness, how great is that our willingness to be lifted is the main thing. So let us join together now to magnify and amplify our willingness so that from this day forward, we are literally changed. That we are coming home to ourselves. And so we must be willing to surrender our attachments to playing small, to living in lack and limitation, to energizing separation, to thinking we're not good enough, that there's something wrong with us, that we don't have what it takes. Now is the time for us to surrender these thoughts and beliefs. So in this moment, I'm inviting you to think of something that you do every day or almost every day, very frequently, something that you do that is an affirmation that you don't have what it takes, that you're afraid, that you're resistant and reluctant to live in your magnificence. What is something you do every day? Some way that you hide, some way maybe that you condemn others who are willing to stand in their magnificence. There's something that you do that you're holding in your mind, and whatever you do is that out picturing, that affirmation of that belief that you hold in your mind. We all have them. We all have them. We all have them. What is something that you today would be willing to surrender to Spirit, to have the willingness to let that thought go, to let that habit go, to let that belief go, to let that activity go, so that you can stop playing small and living in limitation? What is the thing that you do on a regular basis, the thought that goes with it, that keeps you on a hamster wheel of low vibration? What is it that prevents you from living your magnificence? What in your awareness that you are consciously, actively choosing that you could turn over to Spirit for healing, that you could have the willingness to turn it over right now? What is that thing? And I invite you to, in your mind's eye, see yourself placing it on the altar, offering it to Spirit. Willingness to offer it to Spirit for healing. And now I invite you to see in your mind's eye, what is your life like without that? What is your life like without that? How do you feel without that thought, that belief, that habit operating in your awareness, in your experience? How does it feel to live without that weight, that burden? Now I'm inviting you to take that feeling and to expand it from within your heart all the way to fill your entire aura, and see it expanding to fill your entire room of where you are right now, or the space you're occupying right now, the general area if you're outside. And now see it filling your home, permeating every particle, every cell, every atom in your home, so that now your home and everything around you is vibrating with this new experience, this new expansion. We're allowing ourselves to acclimate to this higher vibration right here, right now, so we can live in it, hold it. And from here, like attracts like. So we're going to magnify, multiply, and magnetize, attract to us more of a like vibration. That's a true demonstration of willingness, and we're doing it. It's happening right now. And if you're not able to stay focused right now, if your mind is wandering, no judgment. We're remembering to laugh. Very often, the things we avoid the most are the things we also say we would like to have the most. We'd like to have peace, but we avoid it. We choose other things. We'd like to have more love in our life, but we avoid it and we choose other things. Here and now, we are choosing to be willing to expand into our magnificence and to give up the low vibrational thinking and choices. And when one is lifted, all are lifted. So we are grateful to be lifted this day and to share the benefits with everyone because we are one with them. So we're holding this vibration. And as we listen to the extraordinary music of Sue's, let us continue to hold this vibration and keep seeing ourselves in this new experience of life, unlimited, unprecedented. Here we go.
I'm looking back so I can look ahead. I'm looking back, remembering not to dread what lies before me. I've learned to let it all go. I'm looking back so I can look ahead. 'Cause there's a peace that I found that passes understanding, and it overflows like joy inside of me. And I am soaring on the wings of God's love and God's grace, daily walking in faith as Christ I am free. I'm living my life over to surrender, and I'm rising up in sweet harmony. And I'm letting go so I can move on up. I'm letting go of my old story of luck laying down my past. Through forgiveness at last, I'm letting go so I can move on up. 'Cause there's a peace that I found that passes understanding, and it overflows like joy inside of me. And I am soaring on the wings of God's love and God's grace, daily walking in faith as Christ I am free. I'm giving my life over to surrender, and I'm rising up in sweet harmony. I am soaring on this life with all that I do, soaring on the wings visions of an angel so true, daily walking in faith in Christ. I am free. I am free.
How perfect. Oh, God is good. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So perfect, Suze.
So
Wonderful.
many songs I've written now, I want to sing everything.
Yes. Yes. Well, you can come back and sing some more.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now we are going to move into that part of our service that is wonderfully unique. We are going to go into a breakout, and many people share every week how valuable these breakouts are, how inspirational they are. So if you're not familiar, the breakout, we break out into small little groups, very small little groups. And in the little group, you can share what you got from the talk, what you got from the meditation. You'll only have a few minutes for each person in the breakout to speak. And so the opportunity is for you to share your inspiration. And that's a healing for you. It's a healing for the people in your breakout with you. And if you don't feel like speaking, you don't have to speak. Just listen with compassion. You'll still have a healing. That's it. So it's not just enough really to just listen. It's time for you to share a little bit of your healing and your intention, and the opportunity to affirm that with folks who have no judgment. They are not going to attack you in any way. They're going to hold you with love and light. I see so many people here from Masterful Living, from Finding Freedom, from our classes at the Power of Love Ministry. So I know you're going to be held in love and light. So we're going to go into those breakouts. We've got Christine here who's managing everything. Thank you so much, Christine, for supporting us today and handling this. It takes a team of people to put on these services, and Christine is so helpful.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're ready to roll. You want me to open them up?
Please.
Okay.
There they go. So you just click on the button. If you don't have a button, look on your bottom bar. If you're on a computer, look where it says participant and then breakout, and you can click there for your breakout room and head into that breakout room. Beautiful. So looking for that button. And for those of you who are on Facebook Live with us, hang tight here. And we're going to do a little sharing. I've got Tammy with me. And so, Christine, maybe you can go in that room and tell Dove and Kieran J to come back.
Okay, I'll go in. And do you want Suze to come out too? She's in another room with Dina. Leave them? Okay, I'll get the other ones out.
I mean, so I'm just going to, while we're in this, I'm going to turn off other folks' cameras just temporarily. You can always turn them back on. And so Tammy, any thoughts about the meditation?
It was really good. I think it you know, following what I was talking about was perfect. And, you know, for me, there's still a lot of things that I would like to change, you know. And I know that as, what? Did you get lost? So it was very valuable to me to do that right after even speaking, being the speaker myself. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
Am I supposed to be in another room? Is what I'm asking. It said go to 14, so I did.
Yeah, you can be in there.
Oh, okay. Well, you told me I might need to play some music or something.
Yeah, I didn't know for sure what she would do. So anyway, this is really Susan's first time doing a Zoom live thing, and I'm really glad that she was here today. But yes, the meditation was a perfect complement to the topic.
I appreciate when we first, that was such a beautiful experience for me.
And me too.
Yeah.
And it's just, I hold that memory. I still have the flyer. I mean, it's in a book, you know, but I still have the flyer. And it was very special to me. And I don't think I got to meet Karen and Richard that day, but I've, you know, got to hear from them and be around them in the community. And so I really wanted to say thank you to them for inviting you to, wow, Oklahoma City. We're out here in the middle of, you know, almost, it seems like sometimes information deprivation, but information isn't what we really need. It's awareness, you know, awareness. And I got that from you. I mean, I saw that and I listened to you, and I learned how to apply the Science of Mind principles by following A Course in Miracles. I truly believe that A Course in Miracles is teaching us the mental equivalent of our true nature, you know, and it's very valuable. It's one of the most valuable programs that I've been a part of. And even though it was the first time I met with A Course in Miracles, I thought it was a little, you know, and having a fundamentalist and evangelical religious background and, you know, all those early years of my life, I still have occasionally residue of that stuff comes up. But in 1995, when I first met it, you know, and I started listening to other people's opinions about it and stuff, and people from the fundamentalist evangelical thought system would, you know, they would be like, oh, no, they say that's channeling Jesus and that's impossible. That's the work of the devil, you know, and the whole separation thing. And I'd be like, you know, and I still hadn't actually figured out or become aware of actually what was true and what was false in my, you know, in my thought system. Because I really believed those, you know, a lot of things for a long time. But I had this feeling inside of me. There was something that was like, this isn't quite it. I'm not resonating with this. This doesn't feel right to me. And as a child, I got in trouble a lot for being kind of mouthy back. I would say, that's not true. That can't be true. God wouldn't do that, you know, and I would get in like some kind of serious trouble because first of all, we didn't talk back to our elders or our parents in any way. We did not contradict the things that they had told us. We did not disagree with them, those kinds of things. I was not afforded those kind of opportunities in that environment. And so learning A Course in Miracles, Science of Mind, you know, I was like, okay, well, the first person I found was Emerson. I began reading a lot of Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, for anyone who may not know, but and when I learned that the founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, he either followed or was a contemporary of Emerson at some point, and I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to this guy because I love Emerson. You know, Emerson taught me my religion, my philosophy.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Got Deb and here. Yay.
Hi.
Yeah. Kieran, any thoughts about, well, yeah. Get yourself there. Get some feedback on yourself. Okay, hang up. I can do it, Karen J. Can we, there we go. Nope. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Hi, Jennifer.
Oh, I just wanted some feedback. Is
Yeah,
you,
your sound's a bit odd.
yeah, it's Tammy.
Okay. Hi, Tammy. Thank you. Very, very inspiring. So very lovely to hear your something of your journey and how you've opened and flowered. Very, very beautiful. Very inspiring. And I particularly appreciated for myself what you were saying at the end about have one thing, be really clear and have lots of interest in one thing, really go for it. And that spoke to me so clearly. I was just talking to David in a breakout room. I'm on retreat at the moment, and in a little village that's known, quite famous here in the UK, for being a shrine to Mother Mary, to Jesus's mother. And I'm feeling her presence very, very strongly. And she came in meditation today and said to me that my particular resonance of awakening is joy. And I've been feeling more and more joy over the years as I've been with the course. It's just been happening. And alongside that, lots and lots and lots of clearing, stuff being released. And today I feel this real shift through this connection with Mary and the message she's giving me to focus so powerfully on joy and allow the clearing to kind of subside into the background. There's still clearing to be done, not claiming there isn't, but there's been sufficient that I can now allow joy more center focus. So your message of one thing and be clear and have interest really supported that. And as I was at a shrine today in the Abbey and the beautiful grounds here, devotion was coming. Devotion, devotion, devotion to God. That's where the joy is. And I felt like I'd got Mother Mary at one hand and Mary Magdalene on the other hand. The two Marys have been with me today, supporting me in this focus on joy. And it's so beautiful and so clear. They feel like mighty companions in joy, mighty companions in devotion. And I feel completely secure that something's changed forever. My ability and my willingness and my desire, you're talking about desire, absolutely. There's been desire for a long time, but it's just into a single desire for this devotion and for this joy. So very happy to share that with you. Very grateful for all this inspiration that's around, and really enjoyed your healing as well. Thank you, Jennifer. Really beautiful.
You're welcome. I'm going to just mention to everybody on Facebook, everybody who's here and everybody who will watch later, that Karen J is going to be teaching a class for the ministry on September 5th. It's called Anger, Peace, and Miracles. Anger, Peace, and Miracles. So if you go to jenniferhadley.com, you can find out more about it.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Dove, would you like to share anything about the talk today or the meditation? Dove? Oh, we need to get you unmuted.
Okay. All right. I did. All right. First, I want to thank Christine, who was just sharing. That was just so beautiful. The idea that to focus on joy and the way that she gets there is devotion to God. And I would say that that's what my life has been about, is really my passion and devotion to truth, which is what the Course in Miracles for me is. The idea that the word recognize, it says enlightenment is a recognition. It's not a change. The recognition means that we already know the truth. So this devotion to remembering what it is that we've always known, which is what we are, is for me that joy. And I notice that as time goes on, my sharings and my teachings reflect that inner knowing. It's like it's effortless. There's nothing I need to do. It just flows. It's just flowing. And I guess that comes back to that word trust. Of course, Jesus says, that's a passing train. Jesus says, trust would settle every problem now. I mean, that's just completely letting go. It's just a letting go and knowing that everything is perfect exactly the way it is. And I want to thank Tammy. I thought that the way Tammy expressed herself was so natural. It was really the way that she actually was looking at all the things she had to go through, and she just kept moving through them. And I think I posted one little thing, the things that we think are failures in our retreats are usually our greatest advances, because the things that we think are achievements and accomplishments in this world are just more distractions from that devotion to remembering our true self. So thank you so much, Tammy, and thank you so much, Jennifer, for having this. This is, I mean, so many people get so much out of your Sunday afternoons. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're joining us. And you know, Dove, I would say almost every time I have an opportunity to join with you, you remind us trust would solve every problem now. You must think of that thought like 20 times a day or something. It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a complete letting go and not thinking I have to do anything. That's what lesson 47 is. God is the strength in which I trust. If I'm trusting in anything that I do, I'm really out of my mind. And I also want to thank, I forgot the name of the person who was singing. Beautiful song.
Yes, Suze.
Suze. Oh, thank you so much. I love that song. Thank you.
Yeah, yes, all her music has been so inspiring and beautiful, and so glad for it too. Tammy, do you mind if I share a little story that you've heard me say before about when we first met at that workshop? Do you mind? So I'll just share real quick because we only have a couple minutes here before it comes back from the breakout. But So I was doing these workshops at this church, and at the first one of the things I always do in the workshop is have a breakout, really, and I pair people up or I put them in triads, and they talk about their intention, things like that. So I did that in the room. We probably were a half an hour into the workshop, maybe less, I don't remember. And there was one woman who said, I don't have a partner. So I said, hang on a minute. And Tammy was walking across the room, and I said to her, do you have a partner? And she looked at me and she was like, no. And I said, would you be the woman's partner? And she, I can't remember her name. Do you remember her name, Tammy? I just.
Pam, I think.
I said, would you be Pam's partner? And Tammy kind of like, she sighed like that, her shoulders going down. She said, yeah, I'll be your partner. Now at lunchtime, right? We're all sitting at these tables in the church having a buffet lunch. And so I sat with Pam and Tammy, who were now good friends by lunchtime, right? And so I sat with them. Spirit knew just who to put me with. And Tammy told me that when I asked her as she was crossing the room, would she partner with Pam, she was on her way to the door. She was like, get me out of here. I am not going to do these partner things. I thought I could just sit in the back and listen. I don't want to have to talk to anybody. But you see how good God is. She had real willingness because she didn't want to abandon Pam. Her compassion for Pam, that Pam would be partnerless if she didn't partner with her, that changed her life, because Tammy has had so much healing and transformation since then. And it's moments like that literally they bring me to my knees in gratitude. God is so freaking good, just so good. And our willingness is all that's required. And Tammy had willingness that day, and she has a huge willingness now, but she had enough to have a miraculous healing in that moment. And it's just a powerful demonstration of willingness that I will never forget. Yeah, it made everything about that trip to Oklahoma City and that whole weekend of teaching there, it just made it all spectacular, over the moon for me. Go ahead, Tammy.
Well, I wanted to tell you that I was actually walking to the workshop because I lost my car. And I didn't have enough humility to ask for a ride. But Pamela is still my friend. And we haven't done it in a very long time, but we would meet between Kansas and Oklahoma and have lunch or something, a time or two. And that was a very important relationship and a very important and pivotal moment in my life when you asked me to stay. Well, you didn't really ask me to stay, but you did. And I did. And I really was willing. I was willing, but I was frightened. I was frightened of being seen, of being heard, of, letting people know that, hey, I'm this huge failure, or, I thought I was a huge failure and things like that. So I'm grateful to you, Jennifer, so much.
Well, I'm grateful to you also, Tammy. Yeah, so we were just chatting like you were in the breakout, and one of the things I can tell you is that it's extraordinary how much your life can change because of one moment of willingness. That's one of the things we were talking about with Tammy during the breakout. And the willingness to extend love, to share love. We think these are small moments. We think that they aren't important, that they aren't that meaningful, but they are an opportunity for us to stop running the same old game and to let Spirit lead us and guide us. And just a little bit of Spirit's guidance will transform our lives. And that's why we come together at these Sundays with Spirit. So we're going to have another song from Suze, and we're going to have another prayer from Dina. But before we do that, this is the offering time. So if you're used to going to Sunday services at different spiritual centers, this is the time of offering, taking a collection. And so we do it virtually, of course. Power of Love Ministry is a nonprofit organization, and we offer a lot of free things. And you can find them at livingacourseofmiracles.com. You can find them at jenniferhadley.com. One of the things that I would like to share is if you are interested in A Course in Miracles resources, we have so many of them at livingacourseofmiracles.com, so many. And I invite you to just gorge yourself on them if you like. Of course, we have my podcast that goes out every week. I've been doing it since 2011. And we've got Kieran J. Gardner's here. She's going to be teaching a class on anger, peace, and miracles September 5th. She's been a guest a couple of times on my podcast. Dove Fishman's been a guest, plus in classes that you can find free at livingacourseofmiracles.com. And one of the most important things I think we have there is we have study group support. If you have an idea to start a study group, we would like to support you and encourage you to do that. We also have inspirational text messages. That's a great way to sign up to give a donation. Is you can give as little as $1 one time and sign yourself up for the inspirational text messages. So I encourage you to do that. And as Tammy was talking about, we have classes. We have paid classes, and one of the things I'm doing as a repeat, because it was so successful recently, is my Stop Playing Small retreat. So if you feel like you've been living in that place of lack and limitation, if you feel like you've been living in resistance and reluctance and you have been playing small, check out my Stop Playing Small retreat. It's in September. It's online. We did it recently. It was off the hook. It was so good. It was one of the best times we ever, it was just so good. We really made life changes. And then if you like, follow that up with my Finding Freedom Boot Camp. And by the end of the year, your life will be really shifted and changed. I kid you not. So and then join us in Masterful Living next year, my year-long course. So I'm inviting you to take advantage of all these free things and then see if you'd like to join our community with one of the other things that we have going on. We've always got a lot going on. So, the thing is here, what we're doing is with these classes, with the Sundays with Spirit, with the podcast, with the prayers, the daily prayers I record, is we are consciously releasing the blocks to love that prevent us from living the life we truly desire to live. There's so much more peace and joy and harmony and healing that we can have if we allow ourselves to have it. Am I right? We have to allow ourselves to have it. We are the ones who are blocking it. We are the ones who can allow it. So even just working with an affirmation every day, I am allowing myself to live a life of love. I am allowing myself to live a life of love. Sometimes if we say an affirmation like, I am living a life of love, then we hear that voice that says, who are you kidding? You are not living a life of love. You're living a life of quiet desperation. You're a loser, blah, 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 blah. But if we can say, I am allowing myself to live a life of love, then we're going to start to see the little changes that we can make in our thinking, in our mind, that will powerfully and permanently shift our life. So that's what we're about here. And one of the great things too is we're all about doing it together and having company, because a lot of us, myself included, I lived so many years, like Tammy was talking about, I lived so many years isolating, self-medicating, feeling ashamed, and feeling that I was doing things that were unspiritual, drinking, smoking, obsessively, compulsively doing all kinds of things that I was ashamed of. So here I was taking all these classes, reading all these spiritual books, gathering more and more information, not applying it, and feeling ashamed. And by coming together, we let that shame go. And we don't have to be a prisoner of it anymore. So I am allowing myself to live a life of love. That's it. We are loving and kind to each other, and that transforms our life. We learn to have compassion and understanding for each other, and stop just putting the hand up in the distance. What a jerk, what a nut job, what a loser, what a fool. I don't like them. Instead, I am embracing my brothers and sisters. I am willing to live a life of love. I'm willing. All right. Second sermon, no extra charge. Reverend Dr. Suze, how about a sermon and a song? Let's get your mic unmuted there so we can hear you. There you go. Beautiful. Thank you.
My partner in the takeout session said, play a little rock and roll. It's a little different to do sitting in the chair, but I'm going to play a little rock and roll. Oh, there's no question God can answer, and there's no place God can't go, and there's no sorrow God can't comfort, no heart God don't know. There's no question love can answer, and there's no place love can go. There's no sorrow that love can comfort, and no heart love don't know. Universe means one song, spirit sings the melody. When God and love and you and I are in perfect harmony, we are one, separate and together, we are one, in spirit, heart, and mind. We are living in this universal harmony. We are one. We're both human and divine. Eat your heart out, Mick Jagger. Yeah, all right. And there's no question you can't answer, and there's no place you can't go, and there's no sorrow you can't comfort, and no heart you don't know. There's no question God can't answer, there's no place God can go. There's no sorrow that God can comfort, and no heart God don't know. Universe means one song, spirit sings the melody. when God and love and you and I, we walk in perfect harmony. We are one, separate and together. We are one, in spirit, heart, and mind. We are living in this universal harmony. We are one. We're both human and divine. Yeah. We're both human and divine. We're both human and divine. Thank you all.
Yay! This is this is how they applaud in the deaf community, Sue. So this is what we do on Zoom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was just magnificent.
Good.
We need it.
I should be up dancing now.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I'm sure folks who aren't on camera did get up and dance.
Good.
And thank you for being with us this Sunday. I hope you'll come back. And Tammy too. Thank you, Tammy. Remember too, I put the link in there. Maybe it could go in again. Tammy's one of our spiritual counselors, and you can see her information there and how to contact her. And then Dina is going to give us a prayer to take us home here. She also is one of the spiritual counselors in training, so we are grateful to have you both with us today. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and being with us. And remember, if you're here for the first time, Deb, did you want to say something? No, you're just waving. Okay. If you're here for the first time, you don't have to register again. You're all registered. You will get the link reminder each week. You can always unsubscribe, and you can listen to all the previous ones on replay at the member site. So you're a member now. There's no charge to be a member. So you've got that membership. You can log in anytime and see any of the replays. We've got some really good stuff in our archive and great stuff to come. Dina, take us home, please.
Thank you. Placing our hands on our heart and allowing ourselves to feel the joy that we experienced here today. Allow it to settle into our hearts, allowing the wisdom from Tammy and from Jennifer and from Suze to settle into our hearts and become a part of our being so that we may travel with it the rest of this day and into our future. Let us be willing, we are willing to allow all things to be removed that block us from feeling deep joy in every moment, from being our true selves, and from being comfortable in this world as spirit. And so it is. Amen.
Amen, amen. Thank you so much, Dina. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. Have a great week. Mwah.